Hello, this is Teacher Melissa, BHL here, with some tips for your first class. Congratulations, your first class is booked. I remember all of those feelings of being very excited and also very nervous, but don't worry, I'm here to help, to give you a couple of tips to make your first class a success. And the first tip I have for you is that you should, before you ever start teaching the first class, you should have looked at the materials and the student information. So where do you get it? You go to the classroom section where it says upcoming classes. And right now in July, it's on the right hand side, there is a materials button. So you're going to click on the materials button. And when you click on that button, you will get to go through the whole PowerPoint. You can review every single slide. You can see all of the teacher tips. So you can go ahead and practice the lesson. In that materials button, at the top it will say material, and it will also say student. If you click on that student tab, it's going to show you some past teacher feedback. So that's going to give you some hints as if to, is this student going to move fast? Is this student going to move slow? If the student, it says they're very, very quick and you're going to need some extensions, you need to go ahead and plan those out. If it says the student works really, really slow, you know you're going to need to watch your timing, because your class needs to end between about 25 and 28 minutes. So you cannot, absolutely cannot go less than 25 minutes. You might not get paid if you do that. If you go over 28 minutes, there is no penalty, but it is just not advised to go over 28 minutes. The children have lots of things. They have lots of activities. They have short attention spans. So you don't want to be dragging the lesson out forever and ever. Also, when you're teaching back-to-back classes, you're not going to be able to go over that 28, 29-minute mark and get to your next class on time. So that is one tip for keeping your first class successful. All right, tip number 2 to make your first class successful. You need to get in the classroom early. You want to make sure that your equipment's working, and how you do that is up at the top where your teacher picture is, there'll be a little settings icon, and you need to click on it, and you need to test your camera and your sound and make sure that all of your equipment is working. So you want to get in early so that you can do that. Also, once you get out of your settings, you can preview and you can click through the slides in the little box if you want to go over them real quick. I always try to do that right before I teach the class. In the top left corner, you're going to see a timer, and the timer is going to be counting down. Please know if you've gotten there early by your clock, you're not late. It's just that counts down to 0. At 0, your class starts. You need to click the Start Class button. I always like to click it about 5 seconds before class. Some people like to click it a lot earlier than that, but I click it about 5 seconds before. The class will load, the student will be there, your camera and everything will open automatically, and when it hits 0, you start talking, you start teaching. When you get to that 25 to 28 minute mark and you're on that goodbye slide, you need to go back to where the Start Class button is, and it will say Finish Class, and you need to actually hit the Finish Class button. If you forget, it's okay, but try to make sure that you do click the Finish Class button. Right under the Start Class and the Finish Class button, as of right now in July, there are stars. You must give the student stars. You can give the student up to 5 stars by the end of class. Please try to give the student all 5 stars. So what I like to do is give them throughout the class. Some people save them all and give all 5 at the end. I personally like to teach a couple of slides, click the plus sign, and a star will appear for the student to see. So make sure that you give the kid all 5 stars, click the Start button, and click the Finish button. All right, tip number 3. If you are having trouble in the classroom, a technical difficulty like the student can't hear you, the student can't see you, the slides won't load, the student's behavior is not conducive to the classroom, you can click Call Fireman, and the fireman will come in and will help you resolve your problem. One thing you may want to do before calling the fireman is try to switch lines. At the top, you will see different line numbers. I personally like to be on line number 8, but you can try out the lines yourself and it will switch you, like reload the classroom so that you can try and keep teaching. If that doesn't work, feel free to call the fireman and they will switch the lines for you. So you have about 12 hours to complete your feedback and get full pay. If you go over 12 hours but less than 24 hours, you're going to get half pay for your class. If you go over the 24-hour mark, you don't get paid for your class. So make sure that you add that feedback. All right, tip number 4 is play around with the special buttons before class. There are lots of buttons. There's a little gift box. It's up under in your teacher window. In the gift box, you can put what they call AR, augmented reality stickers, on you. And then there's a gift box in your students box, and you can put them on your students. So you can do things like make yourself wear different funny hats, and you can put them on your student also. There is a screen where you can make yourself really large instead of being in a small box. There is a high five. There is a thumbs up. So I suggest that you spend some time in the classroom playing around with those things before your class starts. You might want to go in way before your class starts so that you can, a lot of times you have to have your teacher window open for these things to work. There's also a chat box, and in the chat box you will see a thumbs up next to it, so you can press that. You can also type. I usually like to type in the chat box if it's a new student. Hello, my name is Teacher Melissa, and I always put VHL behind it because there are lots of Teacher Melissas. So these are some tips that can help make your first class successful. I hope you have a great first class. If you do not have a referring teacher, you haven't even applied yet, I'd love to be your referring teacher, so look down in the comments and use my link or referral code, and happy teaching!